The sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight. It stopped raining. Everybody's in the play. And don't you know, it's a beautiful new day. Hey, running down the avenue. See how the sun shines brightly in the city. On the streets where once was pity, Mr. Blue. Sky is living here today. Hey, Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Hey, with the pretty face, welcome to the human race. A celebration, Mr. Blue Sky's up there waiting, and today is the day we've waited for. Oh, Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Hey there, Mr. Blue, we're so pleased to be with you. Look around, see what you do. Everybody smiles at you. Hey there, Mr. Blue, we're so pleased to be with you. Look around, see what you do. Everybody smiles at you. Mr. Blue Sky, Mr. Blue Sky, Mr. Blue Sky. Mr. Blue, you did it right, but so comes Mr. Night, creeping over. Now his hand is on your shoulder. Never mind, I remember you this. I remember you this way. Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Hey there, Mr. Blue, we're so pleased to be with you. Look around, see what you do.
I don't know what goes on with Restream sometimes. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dave Valente. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive. It is 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and it is 3:30 a.m. in Tehran. We are in week 4 of the Iran war. And this week we are joined by, as always, AJ. AJ, how you doing?
I am fantastic, actually, because
Awesome.
I've ignored the news. I mean, just for this
And
week.
from parts unknown,
I am
Andy
in
Dan.
Meyerland, which is a neighborhood in Houston, Texas.
Houston. All right.
Yep.
What you going down to Texas for?
I am here for my dad's last grandchild's bar mitzvah.
Oh, very nice.
So that was yesterday. It was awesome. I had an aliyah on the Bima.
I have an
Now,
aliyah.
So, well, it's interesting. The word aliyah is actually the prayer that you say before reading the Torah.
Yes.
And so my dad and I said the Aliyah together before the first of the Torah readings. And
Nice.
my nephew Seth had a bar mitzvah all by himself. Normally, you share the Torah reading with other people. But because he was all by himself, he had to read all four Torah portions by himself, and he was amazing, amaze
Sweet.
balls. So he did a great
Awesome.
job. So that's why I'm down in Houston, and I'll be traveling back tomorrow.
All right. Cool.
Have you had any trouble at the airport?
I did not. I heard a bunch of
Great
stuff
for you.
about it, and particularly people were saying that Houston's got a lot of problems, but I didn't see any of those problems. So
What time did you fly in?
I left Baltimore at noon, and I got in at 3 o'clock. That was
Wow.
on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I think as the week went on, it got worse. Yeah, they're saying to show up 4 hours early for your flights.
Yeah.
At Dulles, I think, in Atlanta yesterday, people who showed up at 3 o'clock in the morning missed a 6 o'clock flight.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
We'll see. So Houston has I'm flying out of IAH,
yep.
which they refer to as intergalactic, and then it was called intercontinental, but now it's called Bush. The problem is, so what people are saying you can do is they have a website that tells you how long the wait is at each terminal,
Yeah.
but they have a train behind security. So if the wait's really long in Terminal B, you can just go to Terminal A, go through security there, and then take the train over. I
Ah,
don't want to advertise that too much, but that's my plan. I'll be checking the website along the way. If it
Yeah.
looks bad, I'll go to Terminal A. So I'm flying out of
I
Terminal
like
C,
that.
I think.
I mean, it's at least it's not Dallas. Dallas Fort Worth is awful.
Yeah.
Like, um, I landed well over an hour before my connecting flight into
Yeah.
Dallas, and it felt like we were driving from Fort Worth to Dallas on the taxiway. Like that's how far it was. um, and
Right.
I ended up missing my connecting flight because it was
I
just
mean,
so
that
took so
is an
long.
enormous airport.
It is, yeah,
Definitely true.
yeah.
All right.
AJ, you
Plug my
did
laptop in. Don't be embarrassed if you see my belly button or something.
nice. AJ, you did one of my favorite things this weekend.
I
You went to
did. My
you
my
went to a
neighbor
powwow.
Harmonica invited me to go to a powwow at the Denver Coliseum.
God, I love
And
powwows.
that was fantastic. It was amazing. It was great. I still feel it like in my brain stem.
And you
Um,
will for days afterwards, because I used to go to the Gathering of Nations in Albuquerque, and um, after you go to a powwow, it's like a week later, you feel the drums. It's like it wakes something up in your soul.
mhm.
Um, plus, there's so much good food there too. Oh my god!
Well, I had a smoothie and a churro, which was really good. And the smoothie was amazing. It was strawberry, banana, mango, and orange. And they mixed it right in front of you and poured it right in front of you. And it was like,
I miss
so
that.
that was really good. I bought some soap from a lady. Everybody's really nice. So I bought some soap from a lady, and she was like, how are you enjoying it? And try to really make me feel welcome. And I was like, I can feel it. Like back in here, I can feel it. She was like, that's your ancestors telling you that they're proud of you for being here. And I was like, well, that's cool.
Nice.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much. I needed to hear that they were proud of me. I don't know. Like it just hit me. And it was just like, you're such a nice lady. Oh, and there were princesses from everywhere, like as far as
yeah,
Honolulu, because this was the 50th anniversary of the Denver March. So it was huge, huge, huge. I don't know. I just kept closing my eyes because as gorgeous as it was, closing my eyes and just feeling it
yeah.
was, I don't know, like it, yeah, it touched something.
Yeah, it's an amazing experience if you ever find yourself a lot of times it's in the Southwest, but pretty much anywhere that has reservations will have a powwow at least once a year or twice a year. Um, get if you get a chance, go to it. And if they serve fry bread, get fry bread.
Mm,
Oh
Yes,
my
it smelled
lord!
amazing. Of course, I can't eat it, but
Yeah,
um,
and literally lard because that's what they cook it in. But it's amazing. Um, if you're in New Mexico, like one of the great things to do is go up into the Jemez, which is a mountain range to the west of Santa Fe, and the as you drive along the road, there are these old ladies who sit there and make fry bread, and you just stop and you get fry bread, and they'll sprinkle it with honey and powdered sugar, or you can just eat it plain. It's amazing.
see, that's what I'm talking about. Now, the
Yeah,
line for that was like 2 hours long, and we didn't want to miss anything because
I
it was
would.
the first time that we gotten to see anything. And they had so many princesses. It was just like, I don't know. And like each decade, they would do our 70 and up crowd are coming out. And so they would play a song for them to go all the way around. And then, like, our 60 to 69-year olds, they would go and they did each decade. And they
Yeah,
got down to the teeny weeny people.
the
Oh
little
my
ones. Oh my
God.
god.
Oh
Yes.
my God. The teeny weeny people.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle the cuteness. It was because, of course, they're not old enough to skip yet. Like, they
No.
can't actually do that with their bodies. That is something that you learn at, like, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Um, but so they were trying, but man, they're so excited and it's just joy and they know they're doing their thing. Man, it was so great.
Oh, Brandy just brought up sopapillas. Sopapillas. If if you want to know how to get me into a van and kidnap me, have stuffed sopapillas. If you have stuffed sopapillas, I'm getting into the van and I'm going to end up on an episode of Criminal Minds. Like that's just, that's how Dave meets his end. They got him with stuffed sopapillas. But regular sopapillas, even just, like dessert sopapillas are good too. But yeah. No, fry bread is cooked in lard.
yeah, yeah. New England fried dough is different. Having experience in both, New England fried dough is awesome, but essentially it's like a pre-donut. You fry the dough in oil and then you put powdered sugar on it, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I would say, if you want to analog as to what fry bread or even sopapillas are in like Southwest culture, it's like the New York bagel. That's what it is. That's what it means to local culture. So,
We have
but yeah,
Johnny cakes, like you fry cornbread in the
yeah,
with butter in the skillet.
they got hoe cakes here, which
Nice.
I like how every region has like their version of fried
yes,
bread.
yeah, and um, uh, they call them Navajo tacos, but fry bread tacos are amazing if you ever get a chance to eat
I
some
saw
fry bread.
people walking by with those. Looked amazing.
I'm starved, even though I just cooked I cooked a butt today and have had some good barbecue, man. I when I start thinking about New Mexico food, I'm like, oh, I need to
Anytime
go.
we talk about food, I drool. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie.
I do.
Um.
My cup has been running over for barbecue
Oh
down here in
man, I
Texas.
bet.
The Friday night dinner was was all barbecue. So, although Texas barbecue is different from other places,
Yes.
but obviously lots of brisket, which you consume straight up, but also in a sandwich on Wonder Bread with pickles and onions and barbecue
Mm,
sauce,
yes.
and it's just
Yeah.
delicious. Pork ribs and we had chicken, which you don't traditionally find at a Texas barbecue, but it was good for we had a lot of people, and so not everybody eats red meat, and if you can provide chicken, that's helpful for some people. And then there were a lot of salad. So, oh, what type of sauce do you use, Dave? I'm gonna say Texans do
Sauce.
not use barbecue sauce.
Actually, I've got a sauce that I ordered. We got a couple jars of sauce when we were in Kansas City, so we got the Arthur Bryant's and Gates that we got in our fridge. But I also get this sauce out of Albuquerque. It's a guy named Kirk, and it's Albukirky
Nice.
barbecue sauce, and it's a red chili barbecue sauce. It's wonderful. So that's what I used on my briskets, or not brisket, pulled pork sliders
Ugh, y'all.
today.
Yeah,
This has quickly become a food episode, but
right.
thanks, Brandy.
I can
Thanks,
go to
Ted,
the
for joining
kitchen.
us
I'm
tonight.
just
We
saying.
appreciate it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I have the same thing. And so the nice thing is that we're going to be eating leftovers for the rest of the days that I'm here, which is
Oh,
fantastic.
leftovers
Yeah.
are oh, so good, so good.
Speaking of leftovers, let's talk about Iran.
Well, God. Well, you know, Donald Trump today put out a tweet saying that Iran is dead.
Yeah,
But you know, Iran's still throwing out stuff. They threw some missiles. Previously, they didn't think they could go that far, but they went all the way to Diego
Diego
Garcia,
Garcia.
which is if you
On my bucket
angle
list
them
of
a different
places to
way,
go.
yeah. But if you angled a different way, you could make it almost all the way to London
Yep,
when you think about that distance. So
yep.
Iran, you know, the Straits of Hormuz are still closed. Oil is still
Contested,
impacted,
contested, I would say.
contested, but
Yeah,
yeah, Brent crude is at 106 right now, or at least on the futures. NYMEX in West Texas Intermediate are at 97. Average gas price in the United States is now at $3.94 a gallon.
yep.
Um, you know, it's starting to hit people, and those gas prices will start hitting you at the grocery store because they got to bring that stuff into the grocery stores that's going to use gas.
Grocery
Yeah.
prices were already increased.
Oh yeah, my dad was talking about that. How he definitely notices it. That his budget is, he's spending $300 now when he goes to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I talk to
And
members every day, same thing.
the reason I brought it up under the concept of leftovers is that I had this weird idea yesterday, and I think you had seen it and commented on, Dave. But I think, the advent of real drone warfare has made us realize that a lot of our old arsenal is obsolete. And there is a paradigm of this having happened before. Those who read Joseph Mallor Turner's thesis on the death of the battleship. And
I
prior
mean, think
to,
about cavalry, and
yeah,
there have been so many arrows from
yeah. Well, I mean,
made things obsolete.
Yeah, right, right. I mean, Cav as a concept is still around, right? You have air Cav now instead of
Yeah,
horse Cav, but battleships were the kings of the sea, and they were the most important thing that a country could have. You knew how important a country was by the battleships that they had. 1905, Japan defeats Russia in the Battle of Fukushima Strait, I don't know, Fukushima Strait, I think. But they overwhelm the old Russian battleships
yep,
in the Russian Pacific Fleet. The Russians send their Atlantic fleet all the way around the world because they can't go through. The ships are too big. The battleships are too big to go through the Panama Canal. So all the way around the southern end, they get up there, and then the Japanese destroy that fleet as well. So battleships are everything. And then around 1935, people start to realize these aircraft carriers with these cheap airplanes on them are entirely capable of destroying these big ships.
yeah.
And that was it. That was the end of the battleship era. With the exception of, the United States used battleships in North Korea for ground support, or in Korea and in Vietnam, actually. But that was the end.
Yes.
There were no more ship battles fought with battleships because air power defeated sea power. Drones are the next level of that iteration, where these tiny little drones are much more effective than these swaths of missiles that we've been building for a long time.
Yeah.
So one of the interesting things about this war for the United States is it's probably the last war where a lot of our technology is going to be any good. A lot of the anti-air stuff that we have, things like that, drones are evolving to the point. And so,
I mean, well, when you look at what's going on in Ukraine, because
right.
they've been dealing with drone warfare this entire time, they've
Yep.
been defeating it by using shotguns. Like,
Yep.
it's crazy to think that a shotgun is the advanced technology to take out drones.
Yep. Shotguns, area effect weapons. You're seeing the advent of real military lasers at this point in time that, require maybe, $5 a shot in terms of electricity that can take out a drone. But for people who haven't been through this part of philosophy, armoring something against a drone, against a laser is very similar to making something resistant to a beam of light. If you shoot a green light at me and I'm wearing a green shirt, it's not going to be that effective. You can know, if you know the color of your opponent's lasers, you can paint your drones and they'll be more resistant. We're going to get into the big game of warhead versus armor. But what we do know for sure is that a lot of the anti-missile technology that was a big deal for a long time is going to become relatively obsolete.
Yeah.
And this is probably the last war that is going to be useful.
It
So,
would just be nice if it was just this will probably be the last war. That would be the
yeah.
lesson that we need to learn
I
from
mean,
the crap that we're going through.
it
I
could
know
be,
it's
Dave.
not.
It could
It
be.
could be.
It
Yeah,
may
it could be.
escalate into the
I
last
mean,
war.
because the Iranians hit close to the Iranian or the Israeli nuclear facilities, and the Trump administration is talking about hitting power stations and the Israelis. I mean, if the Israelis nuclear facility gets hit, I think it's just a matter of time before they really go after the
Oh, yeah.
Iranian nuclear facility and cause a
Yeah.
meltdown of some sort. And
That being said, I will say go to realreport.com and look for Demona, REEL report.com. We have a reporter who shot video from there, and it's entirely fine. There were definitely missiles fired in that direction, like they were all over the rest of the place, but you can find missiles. You can find video of the nuclear facility in the middle of the Negev shot from a distance of however close you can get to it
did I get
based
that
on
right?
your. Yep, that's exactly
There we
right.
go.
Thank you. Because obviously there's a fence around, it's a restricted military installation, but you can see it's still there, stuff like that. There's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of fake news going on around that stuff. What I think
Fake
is interesting
news? No way.
though.
Fake news.
Yep. What's really interesting though is that there is this reminds me so much of Vietnam because the US dropped more bombs on North Vietnam than were dropped by all countries combined in World War II.
Yeah.
And people think about it and they're like, that's a crazy it is a crazy statistic. And either Nixon or Kissinger, I couldn't remember earlier, one of them talked about the fact they had a strategy. And it might have been, who was the general with a W?
Westmoreland.
Westmoreland, thank you. Um, the Westmoreland at one point in time talked about the fact that we were going to try to bomb them back into the Stone Age. But the fact of the matter is, North Vietnam wasn't that far removed from the Stone Age.
Yeah.
And that dropping all those bombs on them didn't really. Yes, go ahead, AJ.
Why hasn't anyone done this to us? Why haven't they ganged up and been like, fuck them? Like,
I'll give you a great example, but people don't realize how dominant the American military is. So, we're just talking about aircraft carriers. Until very recently, the only country in the world that had a real aircraft carrier was the United States.
Yeah.
And we had 12 of them.
And China just built one, but I mean,
well,
Yeah.
are those also just battleships that could be destroyed by?
No.
No.
An aircraft carrier, because an aircraft carrier has an air force on top of it.
external defense.
An aircraft carrier essentially owns 500 miles of space around it. Nothing
mean-
that it wants can
Oh.
live inside of that area.
There are two things that really could destroy an aircraft carrier. That's another aircraft carrier that gets the jump, or a nuclear weapon,
Or you could make an argument that maybe
or
a
a
submarine.
submarine weapon.
However, our advantage in submarines is even more than our advantage in
Sure,
aircraft carriers.
but
We, we are so unbelievably powerful in the military conflict, which is why it's so strange that, well, it's not strange, why it seems like we're repeating what happened in North Vietnam from a military
yeah.
standpoint.
Well,
The United States is not playing to win,
I
mainly
think
because they have an idiot for a general.
well that's the problem. I think the outside of the girls' school, which was an absolute just
Yeah,
travesty. Um, the military goals of what they wanted to accomplish, essentially have been met to a
but
great
but
extent.
but I mean,
But
what were those goals?
but that's well, I'm just saying that the point is that these were met because well, in spite of the administration,
Right,
because the U.S. military is such a professional force.
right.
Despite the Pete Kegsbreath and Donald Trump and the merry assholes that are running this country, the
Yeah,
U.S. is a professional force that can carry out
yeah.
these missions, and
I
it's
mean,
in spite of the administration, not because of some
right.
great.
And as an example, if they really wanted to fight, and look, I'm not like I want to separate two things. There's what is good military strategy, and then there's what I want. What I want is for there not to be war. But I can separate that from what is good military strategy.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And well, not everybody can understand that distinction. You can post threads where you say, this is what the best strategy would be. People are like, why do you want that to happen? I'm like, I don't want that to happen. But I can look at a battlefield and say, this is how you win it. We have a
Don't
long
give them
history. And
any
so,
ideas. They don't have you on their side.
well, there are definitely people around who, I mean, as a very simple example, there's no reason that there should be electrical power anywhere in Iran. The U.S. has the capacity to stop that, or at least stop to destroy every big power plant. People would have generators, personal generators, and stuff like that. But we did that in the Bosnian War. The U.S. Dropped these very special bombs that were filled with aluminum foil, little pieces of aluminum foil, like the size of confetti, and that creates a magnetic field around a power plant that essentially causes the power plant to zap itself from the inside and destroy itself.
Yeah.
It's an
What the fuck?
amazing.
Are you serious?
I'm
Yeah.
totally
Oh,
serious.
yeah. That was.
Yeah, we
We got some
have.
diabolical shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, that's not that diabolical because it just destroys a power plant. If you
Yeah,
drop,
sure.
little aluminum foil on people, they're like, "Party! This is like New Year's."
I can cover my dish.
Exactly. But so they could do all of that. They could destroy Iran's oil capacity. You saw briefly Israel bombed the natural
Clark
gas
Island.
facility.
Yeah.
Well, it was Israel hit
Oh,
the natural gas.
yeah.
The U.S. hit Clark Island, but they didn't
But they didn't
destroy
hit
the
the
oil
no,
because that's where they want to land the troops
and they
and
want
then
the
capture
oil.
the oil. Exactly.
Yeah, they want the oil. Yeah,
And so that's the thing about it, is that we're not trying to actually win a war. Because if you were, you would completely degrade Iran's capacity to make war. And we have lots of history around this. When the Allies said we're going to win the war, they won the war by pummeling Germany and
bombing of
pummeling Japan.
Dresden,
Bombing of Dresden, Hamburg. Yeah,
Hiroshima, Nagasaki. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
totally. I think from a PR standpoint, which that is part of it now, 24-hour news cycle and everything about
yeah.
that. I think the era of total war is not palatable. Like
And
I don't
that's
think you could carpet bomb Tehran right now
right.
and
Well, because
look like the
right.
good guys internationally.
Right. It would be crazy to kill a million people. But, you know, Germany, yes, for sure. Dresden, Hamburg, you can point to, huge civilian casualties, unquestionably. I mean,
Yeah.
people talk about, oh, this war, that war, and they're like complaining about it. Like, people have no idea, the people who are talking about that shit. They have no idea what real war looked like because either they don't study history or they don't know anybody who was there when they lived through it. I mean, even, right, Quezon, right? When the Marines stood up against Quezon, people who don't know this story, it's just an amazing story. So we're in the Korean War. MacArthur, we're losing. MacArthur pulls off this crazy maneuver where they do an amphibious landing north of the North Korean army, cut them off, and they're winning. And they push the communist forces back to the Korean-Chinese border. At which point China says, we're going to intervene. And we don't have bullets, but we have so many people. And so they have soldiers with old guns and wooden bullets. And they start running, and behind them is another soldier who doesn't have a gun. But his job is when that guy gets killed to pick up the gun and keep running. And behind him is another guy. And they overwhelmed a large American army. In fact, the army would have been destroyed except for an element of the United States Marines who said, we will hold the reservoir. We will die, but we will hold the reservoir so the American army can escape.
Yep.
And they did. They were killed to the last man. But the army did indeed escape. And that's why war is stupid.
War. I mean,
It's
when
just
you think
unbelievable. And what's really stupid about it is we put so much thought into doing it well. There are times that I think about this, and I never served in the military. I am a regular reader of Jane's Defense, for people who don't know. And my uncle designs war games for the military colleges. And so I have participated in testing those
Good
games.
Lord, the brains in your family.
You know,
Y'all
it,
just blow me away. It's like,
it's a very interesting family. We just talked about it with my sister, who I'm just going to do a little quick aside here. My sister, who they generally refer to as the smart fisherman, and she is actually not a fisherman either. She's a Goldberg. Her husband's last name is Goldberg, but she is now. Let's see, how do I say this without going to? Well, it's easy enough. You could probably find it. But so she is executive director of budget at MD Anderson, which is the greatest cancer hospital around.
Yep.
At the bar mitzvah, at her son's bar mitzvah, she had some friends from work who made it a point to come up to my dad and say, "We just want to tell you how amazing your daughter is, how respected she is." And she's only been there for 2 years. She's like, and this woman, she's like, "I've been here for 20 years. And you can go anywhere in the hospital, and when people have a real problem, they're like, we should call Louise, because she'll have a better idea about it." And so obviously it's amazing for my dad to hear that. But it was very interesting too. But we did have a little conversation about, kids can be empowered to think that they can have that life for themselves. I truly believe that intelligence is like a diamond. And this won't necessarily make sense to everybody, but for people who've ever bought a diamond ring or got a diamond ring, there are the 4 C's: cut, color, clarity, and carat. And the thing is that cut is a big deal in the value of a diamond. Education is the cut on the diamond of intelligence. But we truly are all diamonds. And if we get that cut, we're going to glimmer in the right light. And I believe that that is really true for everybody. And education isn't just what happens in school. Mark Twain famously said, "Never let your schooling interfere with your education." we can be the educated people that we want to be, even if sometimes we have to educate ourselves.
Well, more and more these days, we're having to educate ourselves
Yeah,
because our politicians are failing us when it comes to education.
100%. And here we have this great example of that, in that, what's happening in Iran, stupid to go in, stupid to go in without a plan, stupid to go in without a goal,
Hey,
stupid in its
Chuck.
execution, stupid in the leaders, and now stupid in its escalation because it's about to escalate, and it's
Yeah.
going to escalate again with no purpose.
Yeah.
It-
People who have been part of the briefings of the administration in Congress come out, even Republicans come out and they're like, we don't know what the plan is. We don't know what is the end game here. What are we doing here? Like
yeah, I
what
mean,
is the goal? The Ayatollah is
it
dead. There's a new Ayatollah who's just his son and probably he's going to be a bigger bastard, but
it makes the Iraq strategy look like a stroke of friggin'
strategery.
genius. Oh
It was
my God.
strategery.
Yeah, it was astonishing, especially when you consider, right, the way Trump has ragged on Bush. In reality, that, it, as much as we talk about it being a disaster, it's probably the most successful example of an invasion since the invasion of Germany and the Marshall Plan for its reconstruction afterwards in Germany and Japan.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean, Trump can't even get close enough to the Gulf to do his mission accomplished fly in, It's like
it's so completely insane. And then the worst thing about it is all of these people who know that it's bad and they know that it's going to cost American lives, and the loss isn't here, isn't just here. The loss is also in American prestige
oh my God, yes.
because where we used to have this idea we could come in and do anything, people now look at what the United States has done against Iran and like, oh, maybe they can't do anything. If they can't get Iran to submit in 4 weeks, then they're starting to talk about us the way
Two
people talk about Russia.
two of the most powerful militaries on the planet against Iran, who at one point had the fifth largest military in
Yeah,
the world.
right, right,
In the late 70s, had the fifth largest military in the world, but because of sanctions, that's been whittled down and whittled down, and
right,
most of their stuff is old Soviet stock, or
right.
if they can get parts for some of the old American planes they have, it's
Yeah, they
nothing
still have F4s
substantial.
from America. From
Yeah,
America. Yep.
nothing
So have we been
substantial.
villains the entire time?
What's
Were
that?
we the villains? I mean, it's
We are
interesting
now.
because, well, but so right. I mean, here's the other part about it that's crazy. All right, let's take let's pretend like how like we all pretend Rocky 5 never happened. We're like, Rocky 5 is so terrible. It ruins the whole Rocky legacy. We just pretend Rocky 5 never
We
happened.
don't
Go
we don't
Rocky
talk
4.
about Leighton Rothbard.
Exactly. Exactly. If we ignore the Trump administration,
Uh,
okay, you can go back and say, although America
Can we?
far, huh?
Can we?
Well,
Can we ignore them,
I'm
please?
just saying,
for the
aside
purpose
from,
of this conversation.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So,
I know.
so it's interesting. I posted for International Women's Day uh, a shout out to my cousin who runs a group that makes sure that women equality groups are well funded around the world. And one of the things that she talks about, and she is, you know, as progressive a Democrat as there is, New York, everything.
Currently an
Um,
enemy of the state now.
yeah, currently an enemy of the state. Um, but she talked about the fact she's like, we can complain about a lot of stuff, and the government isn't doing what it used to. But Americans fund 95% of the women's movement around the world. Such as the women's movement is in Saudi Arabia, that's funded by Americans. Not funded by the government anymore because the government sucks ass. But, there are lots of people who are like, you know, Mackenzie Scott would be a great example of this,
Yeah.
right? A woman with an enormous amount of money who these are things. And there are plenty of other women who do stuff like that. I'm not a huge Oprah fan, but Oprah does great
Yeah,
things with
fuck a
her
bunch
money.
of Oprah.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton. There you go. There's a good one.
Yeah, exactly. Dolly
Saint
Parton.
Dolly.
Yep,
That's
all
right.
that stuff. So,
We're not wearing
so
these.
were we the villains? I don't know. Were Americans the villain? Yes, I would say that 100%. Because the
I think.
ambition, go ahead.
Well, I think that here's where I separate it out. Just if you ask the average Iranian before this war started, what their opinion of America was, they love American people. They love the American people. The American people are great. They did not like our government.
We don't
Our
need that.
government is the enemy. Is the
The Great Satan.
they are yeah, and we're living up to that moniker right now.
Yeah.
We are absolutely living up to that moniker because we're bombing indiscriminately. We're attacking a country with no plan as to what we're
Right.
actually doing here. And now we're not the
Right.
good guys anymore. Like
Well,
and
and
that's sad. And then that's all from the government, not even from the military so much. I'm just saying from the government's policies and the people that they're putting out there and the statements that they're making. Today Donald Trump said that Iran is dead and the greatest enemy of the United States now is radical leftists and the Democratic Party.
So he didn't say trans people, but it certainly seems like trans people are
You know,
enemy number one in several states. So
the
can we talk
the
about that for just a moment?
yeah,
sure.
the Republicans and their concern about what's in people's underwear is still
It's so crazy because we have determined pretty clearly that the worst people among us are not trans, right? You point to the 50 worst people in the United States, none of them are trans. You probably go the worst 1,000, right? I don't know. I don't know any way that you could say that it has a capacity to be related to that. And yet here we are with these asshats who feel like the right thing to do is try to make these people feel like they are the worst people. Because you know what? Sometimes your projection forms people. And so, why are we trying to make these people, and when I say these people, why are we trying to make people who have done nothing wrong feel like they are guilty of having done something wrong through their mere existence?
Hmm.
Is it going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy where we persecute people so much that they have no choice but to actively defend themselves? And then that's the excuse to say, oh, look, they're actively defending themselves. Now we have, and that's what I worry about all the time. Our existence, our uniqueness, a word that I don't use, but Republicans like to use, our American exceptionalism. And I don't believe that America itself is exceptional, but I think that Americans can be exceptional in our tolerance and our idea that we all get to live and let live.
yeah.
That is the thing that made America special and exceptional. And sometimes I think that it really is this great Russian plot to attack that part of it.
No, and I completely agree with you because I think one of the things 2016 they were like the Russians wanted Donald Trump to become president. I think to an extent they think Trump is a pliable enough person, and I think that's been reinforced over the years.
Right?
But the goal of the Russians, I call them Soviets, the Russians,
Yep.
and to the Chinese, and to the North Koreans is to sow discontent in our
Exactly.
institutions, and that's what they've done effectively here in the United States is to sow discontent in all of our institutions, so that we'll not fund PBS. What the
Right.
fuck was PBS doing? We'll not fund the Voice of America.
will not fund research. I was just talking about this
Yeah,
with,
medical research.
you know, part of, my sister being at MD Anderson. One of the things that happened very early on was they came in with all the funding cuts from the government.
Yep.
These are people doing the greatest cancer research around, and the government's like, yeah, no, that's not what we pay for.
No,
Yeah.
It's insane. And across the board, you can point to medical issues.
we'll have beef
I saw
tallow for
something the
everybody.
other day, and I don't know. I'm not a business person or anything of the sort. But they said, we elected a businessman. The only thing is, he is liquidating the country, one department at a time, one region at a time, one program at a time. Um, and I don't understand what the point is in killing all of us.
I mean, one institution at a time. I really believe that Trump himself is just an idiot. I truly believe that. I don't think that he has a purpose except that he wants power. And there are
Money.
people
Money.
that, well, right, and money, right? Money is power is a path to money. But there are people with evil purpose and better political machinations than him who are saying, this is what our goals are, and we can help you do your
Heritage
stuff
Foundation.
and get paid if you let us do our stuff and persecute immigrants and the poor and GSM minorities
Yep.
and everybody that we dislike.
Women.
Yeah.
Women, exactly right.
AJ,
Mm,
talk
And-
about some of the legislation that's come out, because we've talked about the Kansas bill that
okay.
invalidated,
So
a
Kansas,
thousand
what they
people.
tried to do was give people, 30 days or whatever to do that. That was vetoed. Like that was, thrown out. Tennessee, I woke up to, and this hasn't happened to me since I was in the Libertarian Party. I felt important for a second. And then I was just pissed off because it was people sending me stuff that Tennessee is doing, like trying to get a list of transgender individuals. Also trying to get list of any particular treatments that they have. Now, here's the deal. They are also trying to pass a bill that is to ban gender affirming care for anyone, period, across the board, adults, children,
Fuck
whatever.
them hair
So,
plugs.
yes. So the thing is, the only gender affirming care clinic was at Vanderbilt. And last month, Vanderbilt said they weren't going to do that anymore and they closed the clinic down. So this bill is literally a waste of time and it's spreading a hateful agenda. And that is it. It is such a, like, I've watched this, and y'all know. And the reason that I was pissed off that I had 17 messages about this was because every single one of them, I wanted to respond, fucking told you so. Fucking told you so. Fucking told you so.
Yeah.
Because I told everybody this was coming. The only reason that I joined the Libertarian Party is I am a mother. That's it. Didn't give a shit before then. It was just like, nah, whatever. So I'm terrified. I'm hoping that we have moved far enough. Nobody wants to move again. I don't think I
No.
can move again. And
And
where
you-
would we go?
Well, you've
like
got the referendum coming up now.
we
in
do. We have
Colorado.
a ballot initiative that is coming up that is concerning transgender people or children, I guess, maybe, I don't know, playing in sports because God forbid, and an anti gender affirming care for minors bill, which of course we all know leads to banning
Suicide.
gender affirming care for adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the
it leads
thing,
to
and it
mental
is
health.
in Colorado, and that's great. They legalize mushrooms, so maybe we're good. But
Jeez.
y'all, I'm tired. I'm
So-
exhausted. Can I stop running away? Can I stop looking at the headlines every day, seeing how it affects me, seeing if I'm not going to be able to vote again? What? Why
Right.
is that a fucking thing?
So-
One of the craziest things about it is the idea that all these people who at some point in time or another pretended to be small government people, thinking that government should in any way, shape, or involve or at all be involved in that. You
Anything.
can make arguments about whatever you want about who should participate in sports. And I think that people can make arguments around categories and stuff like that. But let's put trans aside of it. Do we think the government should make a law over what is the cutoff age for Little League? Right? Because right now, the cutoff age is 12. That's because that's what people decided. Okay? That's what the people who are participating in it decided. Leave it up to them. The government shouldn't be making choices like that. And the people who think the government should be making choices like that, it's not about that choice.
No.
It's about the extension of government power. And they're going to use this issue where they think they've got a small minority that they can oppress to establish the power of the small majority that they possess. Man, I can't believe how good that sounded. A small
did
majority that
sound
they
really
oppress, with a small minority that they oppress, a small majority that they possess.
You should keep
Um,
that one.
Yeah.
That's a
I'm,
t-shirt or
Write,
that,
write
that
that shit
one,
down.
that one is for Jesse Jackson.
There you go.
I do
Um,
worry very. Okay. Here's my thing. If they are banning gender affirming care in
Yep.
Tennessee, um, that's going to affect, and this is coming from a urology nurse. I don't know a whole lot about anybody else's vagina, but I know a whole lot about different penises and everything that can go wrong with them. Um, Testicles, so many unhappy balls. With 3 years of urology,
Yep.
every single bit of that, every single bit of it.
Well, I think that
Gender
shit will
affirming.
end up getting exempted because that's, it's
Because
like,
it's the male.
well, what else could you call gender affirming care? Breast jobs,
Well, I mean, first of
breast
all, right,
augmentations,
who's the
butt
guy
lifts.
who's the guy who had the sunken chest surgery? The famous male. What do they call it now? It's manosphere. There's are you guys familiar with this phrase, the manosphere?
Yeah, the manosphere,
Yeah.
one of these influencers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The dickless interviewers, the dickless influencers who pretend to have a dick.
Yeah.
Oh,
And there's one of them who had gender affirming surgery because he had a cave in
Well, Elon
chest.
Musk did.
Did Elon Musk? Okay.
Elon
oh my
Musk got
gosh, yes.
Elon
His
Musk got hair,
jaw,
yeah,
his
jawline and
fucking
hair plugs.
hair.
It-
I
it-
swear, like they've done something different with his eyes. Like it looked like he had more hooded eyes
I mean,
before.
I know that he's had crazy surgeries. I wasn't aware that he was an anti-trans advocate.
Oh yes, oh
Well, I mean,
yes.
he
He has a
doesn't have a
daughter
relationship
that he is
with the daughter. Yeah.
disowned. Her name is
Interesting.
Vivian. She's gorgeous
All right.
and brilliant, brilliant.
Good. Well,
Um,
so for sure. I mean, it's completely hypocritical, and
how
there's
did
all
you
sorts
miss? How did you miss that?
of. I guess I don't follow him politically
Hold your
that
phone up.
much.
Hold your phone up to the podcast right now so that you'll get some trans news, buddy. Because my God,
Yes.
just
Wait.
let me talk to your phone for a few minutes. We'll fix your algorithm, buddy.
Yeah,
funny.
trans news and lingerie
Trans
ads.
news. Any of the southern states, pretty much. Oklahoma's pulling some shenanigans. I
Well-
think that it involves gender affirming care as
It's
well.
weird. Yeah.
Tennessee has voted to not allow
Yeah, no,
immigrants.
that's what it
Sorry, this
says.
was sideways. But speaking of Tennessee, they have voted to not allow immigrants in school. So, okay.
So, you talked about the referendum in Colorado, and I think we're going to see more of these in some of these southern states. Remember, Dan, back in like 2006, 2006, when DOMA was on the ballot in a lot of southern states.
Yep. Defense of Marriage Act for the listeners who don't know that.
Yeah. Basically, they wanted gay marriage on the ballot to drive Republican voters to the polls. And I think this is what they're going to use to try and drive Republican voters to the
And
polls in 2028 or 2026 to fight.
let's remember where Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton were on that issue.
Yeah.
Both of them opposed gay marriage because they're
Yeah.
dickless.
And then they evolved when they saw the money
Exactly.
come in. Yeah.
Right. And so what happened is like, I mean, I truly do believe that both Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton could care less about gay marriage. They think anybody who wants to ought to be able to get married. But they thought it was a politically losing issue, and so
Yep.
they threw these human beings under the bus.
Yep.
Little
Oh,
human
you mean
beings
like Gavin
under a
Newsom is
literal
trans
bus.
people?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gavin
Exactly.
Newsom, it's like two different fucking podcasts, and it's like, you know that this is forever. What are you doing? You know that this is forever. What are you doing?
That's what he said?
He is anti. Well, he says no men in sports, and trans issues certainly need to be looked at more.
Yeah. I
Women's
mean,
issues certainly need to be looked at more. When anytime the government wants to control a certain group of people, or they have a problem with a certain group of people doing something that doesn't actually affect anybody else, they make them out to be the villains. And what did we say before the show? How
right.
many are worst? The worst of the worst.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. I have friends that are leaving Tennessee because they got married this past Halloween, and their marriage certificate's probably going to be invalid this next year.
Sure.
It is, yeah. That part of it is ridiculous, and I know we've gone 5 rounds on this beforehand. And you know, I say with my statement that the idea that you would want government to make laws over classifications for sporting events is insane.
Yeah.
That part is insane. People who love professional sports and want to have categories for it, that's not a crazy thing. Okay? People can decide voluntarily how they want to participate. But, you know, the big example that we use all the time is martial arts. In the UFC, MMA, in the beginning, they had no classifications. Not shockingly, the biggest guy always won. Okay? You could have an unbelievable martial arts expert, Bruce Lee level expert. He had no chance against a 300-pound in shape guy who could fight. Smaller people can't beat bigger people. And that's just true across the board. And the idea that you would have weight classifications or other classifications for how you want to split up sports, let the participants decide who they want to compete against.
I mean, look at
Government's got to stay out of it.
look at the Paralympics.
Yeah,
I mean, they
great
got
example.
people competing in the same event, but they based off of their whatever the
Disabilities.
disability is, they get an advantage or a disadvantage based off of what level of disability that they have. So there are ways to do it, but
There are.
the
Yeah,
the
exactly.
government
God
stepping
forbid we treat
in.
them like humans.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing about it is nobody wants to try to solve it. Right?
Mm-mm.
What they want to try to do is say, "Oh, we're going to make a law." That's ridiculous.
And I don't even know that I mean there's appetite among the true believers. I think there's the appetite to make the law, but these politicians understand that this is why most political issues don't get solved. Is that politicians understand that the longer that issue festers, the more
Right.
they can raise
They
money
can
off
turn
of
it.
it.
Yep, exactly.
They raise money off of it, raise money off of it. That's why the Democrats never did anything with abortion, because they were able to raise money off of Roe versus Wade. We're going to protect Roe versus Wade. And then when the Supreme Court stepped in there, they got surprised Pikachu face.
Exactly.
And you're like, how did you not see this coming? You had 40 fucking years to codify this shit, and you did not. And
Yep.
now women
It
are
is
paying
in
the price.
Colorado's constitution.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's
I
Yeah,
mean, I don't have a
Massachusetts.
uterus, but it's nice to know.
Massachusetts also has a defense. Essentially, the Massachusetts is very broad. Essentially says that the government can make no laws regarding reproductive rights.
I think West Virginia used to, and it got pulled out in
Like
2016.
that.
Right.
And-
Well, I
and-
mean, the West Virginia one was because they misspelled reproductive. So many
famous.
syllables. Sorry. I love making West Virginia jokes. There is a battle going on, in addition to all the other battles that we're talking about, between those who want power and those who want to be free from those who want power. And Heinlein has a great quote about it. He says, communist, fascist, Democrat, Republican, whatever you want to call it, that's really not a big deal. And I'm going to quote a libertarian, Larry Sharp, who said, if you're a Republican, that's great. I love you. Be as Republican as you want to be. If you're a Democrat, wonderful. Be as Democrat as you want to be. Live that life yourself. Don't tell me I have to be a Democrat because you're a Democrat. Don't tell me I have to be a Republican because you're a Republican. Let people have as much freedom all the time. And I really
Too many
feel
people
like,
don't know how to mind their own fucking business.
well, and I mean, right, this is the part about it I think all the time. How bad is it going to be? Because and I don't want to say it too loudly, Beetlejuice, 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 but I think the Democrats are maybe going to take the House and the Senate. I think that there's a chance. But even if that happens, that's fine. They don't have enough to get anything past Trump. But then if they win in 2028, what is that going to mean? Like, did you see the Seattle law that they're proposing for Uber? So
I
Seattle is
have not.
proposing a law that limits the number of Uber drivers allowed to be working at any given time.
Why?
And the
What in the
reason,
actual fuck?
yep,
What
well,
does that have to do with anything?
the reason why is because if there's lots of Uber workers, it's not surge pricing, and there's not as many rides available, so an Uber worker doesn't make as much money. And their argument, exactly,
So
exactly.
Uber is lobbying for this one, aren't they?
No, Uber is against this.
Oh wow.
No, because it's what actually makes Uber great, and so they've done some statistics on this. 75% of Uber drivers are only interested in earning about $100 a week, and it's some real rich person shit to not understand that $100 a week can make a huge difference in a family's personal economy.
Yep.
Okay, if you know a mom who's got kids in school and she drives Uber from 10 to 2, 5 days a week, and she makes $100, she's like, that's awesome. I love that. You shouldn't take those jobs away just because you don't think they pay enough, or you think
Yeah.
that other people who are driving Uber deserve more because they want it to be their full-time income. The whole point of that, and look, I get it. I get the idea that the gig economy provides people with part-time jobs, and 10 people with a part-time job take away 2 full-time jobs or 3 full-time jobs or something
If
like
full
that.
time's ever offered, because that's
Yeah.
how a lot of companies are getting away with not having full time employees.
Exactly. But the answer to that is not to limit the freedom of the people who want to work.
Dude, side hustles are about the only way to make it as a single parent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
exactly,
mean,
exactly right. And if they're going to, if they're going to get rid of the side economy, the side hustle, what would happen? And it's interesting. So Big Eared Monster, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
You're right. Go ahead.
okay, so you're talking about this. I don't remember the exact name of the man, but it was a man in Tennessee who was working as an Uber driver. And a woman noticed on her camera that he was having trouble getting up the steps. And they ended up doing a big GoFundMe because the only reason that he and his wife were both working Uber was to pay for a prescription for her.
Yeah.
Like they could do everything else, but they did that specifically, both of them. And they're elderly. I mean,
Yeah.
they should be retired,
Yep.
you know.
There is, there are a lot of things. Are you going to ban bake sales because it hurts Wonder Bread or whoever else? The people who do a little bit on the side to make a little bit of money. It's a good thing. Now, listen, if you want to argue with me that the gig economy takes away full time jobs and that hurts us because it makes it harder for people to get health insurance. I can hear those arguments. The problem is the way health insurance works. The
Sure.
problem isn't people wanting to work. You know,
Yeah.
the idea that you would say, uh, I'm going to limit people to working 40 hours a week. I'm not going to allow you to work 50 hours a week, 50 hours a week.
Bears.
Exactly. It's completely crazy. And we
Yeah.
can, I do like Craig's point, to talk a little bit about
The lemon
Afro
pound.
Man
Yeah, Afro
and
Man.
his win in court. Just the last thing I'm going to say about it is that, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we wish the world were this way, we wish the world were that way, stuff like that. And it's hard to distinguish what's what we want personally, what's what we think is best for society, what is a good outcome. Because sometimes it's hard to know. But the one constant that we can cling to is that it's always better when people have as much liberty and control of their own lives. When government has control of their lives, that's a worse scenario all the time.
Every single time. Yes, sir.
All right, let's talk
Yeah.
about Afro Man.
Yeah. So Afro Man was uh, sued by several members of the police force in his local, where his house is at. What year was this? This is like 2019 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's like 5 or 6
There was
years
a
ago.
there was a raid on his house. The police got bad warrant information, and they kicked in the door of his house. Now, Afroman is a very
Well
big
known
into the
consumer of
cannabis scene.
cannabis and producer of music.
And one of his biggest songs is "Because I Got High." That was at the end of
I was gonna go to school, but then I got high.
yeah, it was at the end of Office Space. Great song.
I was gonna get some good grades too, but then I got high.
So they raided his house and kicked in the door, damaged his property, and Afroman had cameras inside of all throughout his house. Now I did research on this, and Ohio is actually a single party consent state when it comes to recording people. These people were recorded while they were in his house, and one of the things that they did was, there was a lemon pound cake, and I I haven't heard it in the stories. I think I heard it in the stories when it first came out that they took his lemon pound cake and ate it.
One of the officers ate some of his lemon pound cake
Yeah.
while they were
So
there.
yeah. And in the meantime, since this case happened, uh, the officers who were sued, or were suing because the one that ate the pound cake has been receiving like 12,000 pound cakes since the incident happened. They call him Officer Pound Cake. They
And Afro Man wrote a song
yes,
about that. That's one of the important parts about it.
he wrote a song about it and used the his camera footage from inside of his house
In the
as
video.
part of the video, or as pretty much all of the video. And uh, honestly, who was advising these people to sue this guy? Like
It's
it made no sense whatsoever, because again,
it's power
it's a single party
again.
consent state. You have the right to record things that go on inside your house, and you could use that in a court of law. You should be able to use it in a court or in a music video. The embarrassment is because they fucked up, and that's 100% the reason why they ended up in that video is because they fucked up, and then they did some shady shit, like they apparently took like several $100s from him and this piece of pound cake,
And
and
broke his property.
broke his door.
property.
Yeah, broke
Yep.
his door.
And what's weird about this is this department was so unpopular already that his song blew up, and the and Mr. Sheriff Lemon Pound Cake himself received lots of pound cakes, like hundreds of pound cakes. Can you
Yeah.
imagine how hated you have to be for people to send hundreds of pound cakes?
I mean, look,
Yeah.
if you want to send me pound cake, I love pound cake. So you feel free. You can call
I
me
yeah,
Dave
I do
Pound
But
think
what
Cake.
if
that
we
No,
sing about you? Will it hurt your feelings? Will
no,
it
it
make
will
you
not.
cry?
it would be pretty funny if you would release a version of the video with your face over the thing. Please
Over
send
the
pound
officer
cakes
eating the pound
to.
cake. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wondered what was going to come of this because this has been an ongoing thing for a while. So,
It's. I mean,
Well, he was he was acquitted.
can
Well,
I make can I make the worst pun I've ever made on
sure,
this show?
go for it.
oh,
Yeah.
please do.
This is really their just desserts.
Oh my god.
Ah,
Well, yeah. So, yeah, he was found. I don't. It was a civil case, so not guilty or whatever they found, but he doesn't have to pay
not
damages.
liable.
Not liable. Yeah, there you go.
Ah.
Yeah, so victory. Glad to see that
So,
happen.
will
There
he
have been
seek the
some stories.
presidential nomination? And if he seeks the presidential nomination from the Libertarian Party, will we have presidential candidates on this year? Because I'm just saying, this next
Yeah.
time.
Remember in 2024, the two candidates that appeared on this show got the nomination: Jace Oliver and Mike Tremont.
Just saying,
So
just saying,
yeah, just
y'all.
saying, if Afroman wants to join the show, we were happy. Now
Well,
there was some talk about Afroman and him being a Trump supporter. The only thing that I saw is that
that's not true.
he met Trump at, I think, was it Freedom Fest or LibertyCon that Trump appeared at?
It was at Freedom Fest.
Freedom Fest, and they met there. They shook
Yeah.
hands, and then he re-released the "Because I Got High" to say Hunter got high.
Yeah.
And but really, I don't think it's that deep. I think it's that he's
Yeah,
chasing
no,
a
it's
crowd. He's
completely.
chasing money to
Look,
sell
He's
Trump-
more
also
shit.
anti-trans and really misogynistic, but I mean,
Oh, is he?
yeah, he won court. And I mean, I'm always for people like sticking it to the man because fuck, why shouldn't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not a great dude.
Mm,
Right. I mean, I will accept that as written. If AJ says it's true, that's good enough in my book.
yeah.
Aw.
I would be interested to see him fight for the nomination in the Libertarian Party because I think that would be interesting. I think
There's
it would
already
probably
plenty of
be,
talk about lots of people that are interested. I don't know why,
yeah.
but there are a lot of
Well,
people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting. If we want to do 5 minutes, I'm not going to the Libertarian Convention. I'm assuming that neither of you are
No.
either.
Ever.
I'm no longer a registered libertarian.
Yeah, I am still a registered libertarian. It means a little something in Maryland. Uh,
Do you get
it,
discounted coffee or something?
Donuts, you get one free donut at Dunkin' Donuts if you're a registered libertarian.
You
No,
get the Hayek decoder ring, I think is
yeah,
tells
it's
you to drink
about
more Ovaltine.
it's if the party has 1% registered voters, you get presidential ballot access. And I think
Oh.
having more candidates on the presidential ballot is better for the country. So I'm in favor of having another candidate. I would support a third candidate even if they were an asshat, which, there have been libertarian presidential candidates who were asshats, at least ones
No way.
who sought the nomination. But it's still good because maybe the asshat will take some votes away from the lesser of two asshats, who would still be better than the third least asshat of the running for president.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be Vance, right?
So, well,
I don't think so.
You don't think
I
so?
don't think so anymore. No,
I don't think Vance does not pull the MAGA
Good.
people like.
Well,
My son
and
Charlie has hated him for like a decade longer than everybody else.
we talked
Carol?
about gender affirming stuff, right? Vance is a guyliner,
Yeah.
right? 100%. I don't care at all. But
Makes his eyes look creepy, but
listen, For me, I don't care what gender you are. I don't like the super eyeliner look.
Yeah.
And I know many women who have done it. I know many men who have done it.
Yeah.
It just looks so completely artificial to me.
I mean, raccoons are cute, but not when you do the eyeliner.
Trash pandas. David, that
Trash
is
pandas.
spoken like
Yes.
a person who doesn't own chickens. Because
I
once you
love.
own chickens, you hate raccoons.
I eat
Oh.
chicken. I am a trash panda myself. I eat chickens.
Ooh, I saw raccoon penises today at the powwow. Since we're
Interesting.
Wow.
discussing it,
Wow.
they come in small and large. I'm not kidding. That's the thing that happened to me.
Same trash panda. Same. But I will reveal something I kind of alluded to last week. I've registered as a Democrat now, and
You're
it's
enemy number
time.
one.
I'm time to it. Well, for me, it's we're fighting against an existential crisis. They'll keep me as long as they keep me. That's my attitude. Just
Yeah.
as long as the libertarians kept me as long as they could keep me. When I started, talking about bigotry as being cool and shit, you lost me.
And
What I will advocate for as a Democrat is the president who I'm going to support is going to be someone who's talking about let's get rid of the powers of the president, the imperial powers of the president. If you can talk about how we do that, I'm going to support you.
And so what's interesting is, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, you actually started your political journey as a Republican, right?
Well, my first registration was as a Democrat.
So you've been a
First
Republican, you went to Libertarian, you're Democrat, and we've never talked about this, but you're 30, 32 years old?
52 years old.
52. Okay.
So I
So,
so
so
I
we can say that by 60, there's a chance you'll be green.
it could be
All right.
ain't
I
easy.
like it.
It ain't easy being green, but
It ain't easy being green. I am a firm believer that you should take something from everybody.
oh yeah,
Every political party has got something to offer. Even the Green Rainbow, who, I can point to some things, I can point to many things that they're terrible about. We disagree on some really significant things, and it's essentially a topic that we just generally don't talk about on the show. But more, I really disagree with the Greens on that. But when they talk about their love for the environment, I like that. I mean, I like the environment. I think it's
yeah.
really good.
I
One
like
of the
air
things to
and
preserve.
water.
Exactly.
It's great.
Exactly. Fresh water is a great idea. We have different ideas about how we want to get there, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
with
mean,
that.
it's like I've talked about with the Bernie Bros before. Like they identify the right issues, the problems with society. They've identified the right issues. A lot of times they advocate for more of the shit that makes the issue, which
Hmm.
is more government, and
Right.
that's where I have a problem with their solutions are wrong, but you're actually speaking the right stuff when you talk about what's wrong with society right now.
So, right, exactly. And so it's interesting, in my presidential campaign in 2032, I'll be running on one thing only.
and on the transhumanist line.
No. Although, if that's what you want to be, fine.
Zoltan,
I have no problems with that. My friend Lars is really into Lars, friend of the show too.
Yep.
Really into the singularity, the idea of extending your lifespan as long as you possibly can, and
Ugh.
taking advantage of all. I mean, different people have different things. I was just talking with my cousin. Who's like,
Okay. I was just like, no, dude,
yeah,
count me out.
definitely not everybody wants that. But there are a lot of people who, for whatever reason, anyway. So if you're a transhumanist, fine, whatever you want. But for me, all I want to do is run for office on one thing. I promise to veto every single piece of legislation that comes before me. I will issue no executive orders. I'm going to force Congress to work together to
Do their
pass
job.
laws.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to find a
Can
way to
we
say
lock them in like they used to?
that would be pretty good. I
Yeah.
mean, the problem with it is that if you lock them all in together, some of them will go cannibal. And that's going to
Is
No,
that a
be,
we'll
bad thing?
deliver food.
Is
We'll
that a
I
bad
mean,
thing?
oh,
they
okay.
get food and all that stuff.
All
I
right.
mean, that'll be easy.
All right.
Well, we'll drop that. The Purina human chow that they send when there's a famine or something like that. We'll drop that in there and leave it for them. They'll put it right outside the doors, and they can go in and grab it and pull it in.
Fair. Should we quiz it up?
Yeah, let's quiz it up.
Yes, Brandy, I have heard about that. They're calling it abortion water where people are having miscarriages. They're trying to
Oh,
get
God.
people
Yeah,
having
I saw that.
miscarriages to save
The
the
abortion water.
evidence
The
and do something specific with it instead of flushing it down the toilet, which is how my miscarriage happened 20 years ago. Because women bleed. When we bleed, we're like, oh, that's a really heavy period. Oh, wait, that's a little bit more than a period. Like, so yeah, Brandy, I've heard about it. I hate being a woman.
yeah, it's why is there we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, AJ. With the
Oh,
picture
you're
there.
fine. I don't.
To me, this is all just this. The Handmaid's Tale was not an instruction manual. 1984 was not an instruction manual. These were
I
warnings.
don't feel like they read these books. I think that they just read Mein Kampf.
This is true. Yeah. Well, at least Stephen Miller did. God damn. All right. 5 things news quiz from Friday, March 20th, 2026. So everything that happened this weekend is not on the quiz. We see a Green River, Chicago.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. The Oscars, which we were covering live last week. And Sinners did not win.
Once again, Dave, you were snubbed.
I did not win. And Sinners didn't win, which was, I mean, they won some categories, but not the big.
We did predict that,
won.
right? We predicted that Sinners would not win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 1. What was the cause of long lines at some U.S. airports this week? System outages, staffing shortages, security alerts, or baggage backups?
Why do you have to blame the short people? Bullshit.
Yeah,
Short
I
staff.
concur.
staffing shortages. So the Trump administration is proposing putting ICE agents at the airports to supplement. How soon before some rando who's flying to Kansas City gets shot because they
Yep.
want to get the pat down rather than go through the
9 days.
meadow?
I give it
Yeah.
9 days before somebody's shot.
Some rando is going to get shot by an ICE agent
Uh-huh.
for arguing or whatever. Yeah, security lines are stretched for hours at some U.S. airports due to a lack of TSA staff during the partial government shutdown. Many TSA agents didn't show up to work or quit amid the first first full week without pay. I know libertarians have always had a hate relationship with the TSA. I don't.
We think everybody should get paid.
Yeah,
for the job.
You do work, you get paid.
Yeah.
But I if things are going on, don't take it out on the TSA worker because they're just first off, they're not getting paid right now.
Libertarians
be
support
kind to them.
contracts.
Yeah, be
Libertarians
kind.
support contracts. Their contract says they get paid for working.
Yeah. All right, question number 2. Which country was plunged into a nationwide blackout this week? This is a story that's very sad as well. Cuba, Venezuela, Jamaica, or Colombia?
Cuba.
Cuba is correct.
Dan, you and I both said we didn't pay attention to the news. We are such fucking liars.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like, we didn't pay attention. We know all the answers.
Well, this happened on Monday, so.
Yeah. Well, it just happened today
Tuesday.
too. It happened today too. There's another blackout that happened today.
Good Lord.
This is a humanitarian crisis, and this is all. I mean, some of the greatest humanitarian crises that we've seen in the last however many years. Go back to like Ethiopia when the famine was hitting. These were the responsibility of the government. That famines hit. We you remember the "We Are the World" songs and "Do They Know It's Christmas Time" and all
Yep.
songs and all the money that we raised USA for Africa, Live Aid, bought lots of food, sent it to Addis Ababa, and it sat in a fucking warehouse and rotted because the government did not want to feed the people. It was a fault of the government. This is a fault of the U.S. government blockading oil imports into Cuba.
Well,
And why are we doing this?
the end of Venezuela's
Yeah.
giving oil
Yeah.
to Cuba.
Yeah. So they're doing this to essentially try and force the
Castro.
Chavez administration or the Castro administration out. Not that we don't already have a ton of, irons in the fire as it is in the
Right.
world stage, but yeah, that's been a long held.
Isn't that a bad strategy to have like so many different things going, like so many fronts? I feel like that's a bad strategy.
Well, remember who's
I
the
really do
strategist?
believe that there's this feeling in the Trump administration that they have to use the power.
Yep.
That somehow it goes away. They don't understand that in reality, actually, power goes away when you used it. It's better
Would you
as
take
Randy
the
will get this
cars?
one.
potential energy. It has more potential as
Yeah.
potential energy than actual application.
Yeah. We were semi-normalizing relations with Cuba, 2012, 2016 timeframe, and then, Trump comes in and trashes that.
Did
I
you see the Pearl Harbor
maintain.
joke?
Oh God, don't even get me
Yeah,
started on
who's the
that.
Japanese prime minister?
Prime Minister, yeah.
It's like, well,
Oh,
Japanese are used to surprises, right, guys? Right, guys?
Why
It's
didn't you
like,
give
dude,
Why don't you
shut the
give
fuck
me
up.
intel about about Pearl Harbor? Pearl Harbor happened 6 years before he was born.
Yep.
Yeah.
And let us point out that if he'd been alive, he would have dodged that draft too.
That's right. Question number 3, Brandy. I know Brandy's
Yes,
already answered it.
Good
Which
job.
type of weather is gripping much of the western U.S.? Heavy rainfall, severe cold, heat wave, or dense fog? It is a heat wave.
Yeah.
Brandy's already got summertime temperatures in Phoenix, so
Yes.
my thoughts are with you. Although y'all, most of my Phoenix friends will tell me that they laugh when we complain about daylight savings time. This may be karmic justice.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
might
maybe
be.
what it is.
Question number 4. Which Nordic nation was named world's happiest country for the 9th year in a row? Sweden, Finland, Norway, or Switzerland? Okay. For the non-geography people, Switzerland is not a Nordic country, so we can eliminate that one immediately.
And also, nobody in Finland is happy, so you can eliminate that one as well.
How do you know this?
I was in Leningrad.
Randy disagrees with
Brandy
you.
says Finland.
Oh, it can't be Finland.
You know what?
What
I
if it
think
is? What happens?
You think it is?
I do.
I don't know.
I admit that I was wrong. I would be shocked if it were.
Well, Sweden,
Can we get a graphic of like,
there. I don't think Sweden's quite there, and I think Norway would be the only other country that I would think within the Scandinavian region that would be in the conversation. But I think it is Finland.
All right, let's find out.
Correct. Yeah.
I get to read that.
Yeah, Finland was named the world's happiest country in the world for a record 9th time in a row. They were super happy.
Oh, Brandy,
I was thinking it
go.
was Denmark, but when I was reading the question, I didn't see the answer.
Maybe I'm out of touch here, but doesn't Finland have a pretty? I mean, they're low on the freedom scale.
No,
No.
they're all the Scandinavian countries are pretty high on at least I think the Freedom House scale. They're pretty high. Sweden is really high on that. Everybody talks about Sweden being this
Right.
socialist country. Sweden has a capitalist welfare state, and that's exactly what they
Global
are.
freedom, 100 out of 100. 40 out of 40 political rights, 60 out of 60 civil liberties.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know anything.
Um, but Iceland, all these countries I want to go to. So
Well, Dan,
be
we
happy.
heard all kinds of things out of your brain earlier. Maybe you just didn't have room for Finland.
Maybe
Yeah.
I used it all up.
Yeah. I'm full.
I mean,
All
there's
right.
only so much brains.
E. coli.
Yeah. Question number 5. An E. coli outbreak that sickened people in 3 states has been traced to which food? Raw milk cheese, pre-cut fruit, unpasteurized juice, or bagged lettuce?
I don't
Raw
know
milk
this.
cheese.
Is it? Is it
Yeah.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, raw milk. That's one of the things that I mean, to each their own. If you want to do raw milk yourself, that's completely up to you. That was one of the
Yeah.
things within the Libertarian Party I never really got was like people who were like super into the raw milk thing, and I'm like, yeah, you do it yourself. I wouldn't want the government to put a law against raw milk if people want to
Yeah, to
consume
me,
it
it's a
themselves.
risk reward scenario.
Yeah,
I personally wouldn't risk it because the reward isn't that big of a deal.
but of all the things that are going on in the world,
Yeah.
raw
It's a
milk
Super
is
Bowl.
probably like 13 billion on the on that list for me.
Right.
Question number 6. Which U.S. agency said this week it could run out of cash within a year without help from Congress? The National Park Service, the Federal Reserve, Social Security Administration, or the Postal Service?
Postal Service.
I would guess the Postal Service.
Interesting.
I mean, National Park Service is probably on that list as well, but
Right. But
Postal Service has such a bad issue with their pensions.
Right.
Yeah, Brandy says Postal Service as well. They're always running out of money because they got so much money invested in the pension system that you there's only so much you can raise the stamp rate to.
Yep. I agree.
Correct. The U.S. Postal Service chief said the
That'd be
250-year-old
weird.
agency could run out of cash within a year unless Congress allows it to borrow more money. Denmark just got rid of their postal service, which is
Interesting.
So we'll just have to use UPS
Well, I mean,
and FedEx and shit.
private people would definitely spring up. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about it, it is ridiculous that it costs you. I don't know how much first class stamp is now. Well, let's just say 75.
72 or 75 cents, somewhere in there.
All right, let's say 75 cents. It costs you 75 cents to send a letter to the person who lives down the street from you.
I mean,
I
first off,
send letters, but I live across the country from a couple of people I actually like.
yeah.
So,
Right.
and I send out like Christmas cards and stuff.
I mean,
Yep.
Oh,
communications now has gotten so varied that
Right.
instead of sending a letter, you can always send a text or
Susie
maybe your
Williams.
Mima doesn't doesn't do email or doesn't do Facebook
damn.
Messenger or something along those lines. but-
Brandy, slow down.
Wow.
It is Susie Williams, though.
Wiles.
Was she retired?
Who is the White House chief of staff? It's is.
Yeah.
She's the chief
Oh,
of staff. She, I don't know how much power she has because her deputy seems to be making a lot of decisions for this administration. So
They say that her biggest power is that she understands Trump better than anybody else. And so, like, one of the things that's sort of a well-known thing is that whoever's the last person who gets to present their argument to Trump wins because he only can't remember everything. And so she controls the
mattering.
order in which people are looking at get to speak to him.
yeah, I mean that is the power of any chief of staff is that you really
So-
you are the gatekeeper to the
Question.
president.
if her deputy gets in trouble, would it not come back on her as well? Because it seems like only women actually get punished for things. So,
Well, I mean, what was it? God, yeah, I think it was December. We've had quite a few years this week.
we have.
But yeah, I think back in December she had that, or no, it was earlier than that. That Vanity
article?
Fair article where she was
Right.
basically just kind of trashing everybody, and
Yep.
you know,
And yet
I
she's
don't know.
still there.
She's still there, and you know,
So
she
neat.
outlasted Christy Nolan. So
That's weird. Huh.
Next.
yeah, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, I believe, recently. So,
Really?
which, well, first off, I don't wish cancer on anybody.
I mean, she'll get
Um,
amazing treatment. So
yeah, she can get
who are
amazing
we
treatment.
getting?
Because that means that Stephen Miller would actually be the chief of staff, you know, at least on the depth chart. Question number 8: which rare phenomenon was spotted over the eastern U.S. this week? A fireball, a
I
meteor
think it was a
shower,
fireball.
supermoon, or aurora? Aurora. That's a hard word to say. Aurora.
Aurora?
Aurora.
Aurora. Aurora. I think it was the fireball as well.
Yeah.
Over
Meteor?
Yep.
fireball. It was
Oh.
cinnamon schnapps.
It's that cinnamon whiskey. Oh my God. You heat up some apple cider and you put that
That
fireball in there and you drink it in the winter.
that's
That
just
is the drink.
that is just regret right there.
That tastes like
It
bad
tastes like
decisions.
bad
Mm-mm.
decisions and regrets is what fireball tastes like.
Bad
You know what the
decisions like
butthole
cough
surfer said?
syrup.
What's that?
The butthole surfer said, "It's better to regret something you have done than to regret something you haven't."
This is true. It's true. Question number 9. Question number 9. The 98th Academy Awards recently celebrated this year's biggest films and top talents. Which film won Best Picture? Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, or Sinners?
It was one battle after
It was
another.
One Battle After Another. I predicted that right.
Blah blah blah. Big star power.
Yeah. Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another won Best Picture along with 5 other awards, including Best Director and Best Adapted Screenplay. Question number 10. Which U.S. city dyes its river green each year in honor of St. Patrick's Day? Pittsburgh, Portland, St. Louis, or Chicago?
You can actually tell this
Chicago.
one by the picture.
Yeah,
It's definitely my kind of town.
that's
Chicago.
right.
No. Would.
One of the 2 in-person LNC meetings that I attended was in Chicago. It's a fun town. We did the cruise, and we did the architecture cruise up
Yeah,
and down
it's
the river.
amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing architecture.
the architecture in Chicago is crazy. If you're
Second
ever in
city,
Chicago,
walking
do the
Miracle
architecture
Mile.
cruise. Yeah.
I love Chicago as well.
Although, don't get lost on Lower Wacker Drive trying to find the fucking hotel. Holy
Nice.
fucking shit! That goddamn Lower Wacker Drive, because if you're using GPS to get somewhere, if you get on Lower Wacker, first off, you start losing GPS coverage, and 2, it's telling you to turn someplace that is a brick wall because it's where you're supposed to be turning is on Upper Wacker Drive, not Lower Wacker Drive. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, it's a nightmare. I almost got divorced over Lower Wacker versus Upper Wacker Drive. So. All right, I scared Jared Hall, I think, in that drive as well. So, all right, well, that is the quiz this week. We got 10 out of 10.
I have got to jet, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on the political deep dive this week. Next week we're gonna do we'll come up with another topic, but we're gonna do music again because I really enjoyed doing our movies episode, and
Yeah.
we'll do music and our favorite musical artists and turning people on to good music. So anyway, thanks for
Okay.
joining us on the political deep dive, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody. Mwah.